I'll start the session. Good afternoon, or good morning, sorry, to everyone on the call.
Morning, Gary.
Good morning to one and all. And it's a really sunny day where I am, and I hope it is where you all are. Just a warm welcome. With that, Jordan will be joining very shortly. You can probably guess who went on the Teams call. He will be demonstrating some change that we made to badging of products. He will be demonstrating the usage of email templates, a new module called an image card module, which a couple of people are now using, and how the order reference is used. And then we'll move on to Dan, who will then go through web quotes. A really good change we're starting to deliver on customer layouts and some control panel. Yep. Cool. Off we go.
So I'll start off today with badged products. So this is kind of an enhancement on an existing module that we had for product promotion range. So essentially what we've added is it's displayed like this, and you can add multiple of these, so you can have more than one badge, but you can only have one badge per product. So it won't if you add a product code into here, you won't be able to add it into another one, so it's only one per module. So per product, sorry. So you can have a badge title. So I've just gone with "This is a great pen." You can set a background color for the badge, a font. You can put a link on it. So this link is for the actual module itself, and this is what the badge will say on the products. So I normally just stick to 4 per row because this looks the best, but you can. I'm getting a lot of feedback off someone's mic here. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, that threw me off. That I'll show you what it looks like on the web store. So if I just scroll down here, so this is the module itself. This is a great pen, and the link that I've put it to is this button here. So if you click this, it will take you to the link that I've entered here. Okay, so I just put it on this page to show you like the different badges that you can put on. So here it is. This is the great pen, and this can be applied to as many products as you want. And here's the other option, well, not the other option. This is the other badge that I've done. So so this is a great pen. That's that one. Then I put another one down here for buy this now. So you can see I've put 2 products in there, and it's these 2 here. I've put the badge at the bottom of the product because sometimes we do have other badges at the top like this for on contract and discount. So I didn't want them to overlap, or I didn't want to have too much space going all the way down. So I've just stuck it right at the bottom. You can enter anything you want for this, for any sort of promotion, or you might be offering some other discount, etc. So it just gives you another sort of display option that you can add to the products. And as I said before, if I put this code in this one, you won't be able to apply it to any of the other ones. Otherwise, you'd get. Well, I've stopped you from doing it, but there might be an occasion where it overlaps, so I've stopped it. So you can only have one per product. So that's the product promotion range. That's just a quick overview. I'm sure if anyone needs help with it, then can do so. The next thing I'll show is the email templates. So change this page a little bit, just to make it a bit more clearer. So here you've got your 8 different templates. So just to go into them, you just have to click on this button. And this here is a preview, so this is what it'll look like when the user receives it. So if you click on this, this is what it looks like at the moment. So this is just a standard email that we've got now. If you open it up like that, just be like this. So that'd be the email the user would get. To edit it, you come in here. You can set the subject, header color, background color, and a bit of your own text in there if you want. Now, I have added a new option in to use a custom template. So this is something that you can set up yourself. So it kind of gives you the freedom to create your own email. So here's one that I did earlier, just to give you an example. I know it doesn't look very good, but it's just an example of what you can do. So in fact, if I get rid of all these, just to show you from scratch what it would look like, that would be easier. So if I get rid of all that. So this pre-populated email content, will be this part here. So this is the part, sorry, all this part would be staying inside the email. You can't change that because that needs to be in there because that's letting the user know the username and where they can log in. So that will never change. So that's that part here. So all this content's draggable, so you can have this wherever you want. So say if I were to put the company logo at the top, I'd click this button here, and you can drag this above it if you want it there. You can put in a heading like this, and you can click on the heading, and you can edit it over here. So this is like Microsoft Word. So if you want to center a line, you just highlight it like this and click on the center, and then you can just click away like this, and it'll put it in the middle. Or if you want to change the format of the text, you can do a different font maybe if you wanted to, like that, and you can just click away and it'll change the font for you and put it in bold, etc. You know, so it's got the kind of capabilities same as Microsoft Word. That's a heading, then you got a paragraph, so it's the same as this. You get the same options, but it's just a smaller text. Within that as well, you can put a bit of padding top and bottom. So if you wanted to increase the space between the two, you can. You can add an image in there. So at the moment, this is just a filler image. So what you want to do is, obviously you're going to replace it. So you can click on this button here, on the upload image button, like that. It'll open up your images, and you just double click on one of them, and it'll automatically change it for you on there. You can put your alt text in, put a link on there. You can change the radius of the image as well, like this, if you want to make it a bit more rounded. And then again, you've got padding. You can put padding on either side, you know, just to make a bit more space around it if you like. There's an option to add columns in. So in that, you'd be able to add in these 4 options. So say if you wanted big 3 columns of images, you could add it across like that, and you might want to obviously put different images in each one. Same again with the images, you get all the same settings, but there's a few different ones on this one because it's inside the columns. So if you've put columns of 3 and then you've decided, oh, I don't want this image there anymore, I want it to the left, and you can just click that. Obviously, it's not going to change on mine because it's the same image, but you get what I mean. If you had a different image here and you wanted to move it to the left or right, you could do so doing it that way. If you decide that you only want 2 columns, then you can click this button here and it'll put it into 2 like that. Splits it out evenly. And again, you've got your upload image button. So what you have to do is you go on there, you click that, select your image, and it'll automatically update for you. And then the last option that you can add on there is a button like this. So with the button, you can change the button text. You can put a link on the button. You can change the color like this, whatever you want, maybe blue or green. You can centralize the button, or you can put it on the right, like that. You can choose if you want the button to be full width or just set as how long the text fills up in the space. So at the moment, I've got it on auto, so the more text you put in, the bigger the button I get. Or you can set the button to full width, will take up the full space, like that. And you can choose if you want the button to be rectangle, rounded, or a pill. So if you want it to be rectangle, then it'll sort of like make it into a square. I've just shown you the rounded one, which is like sort of like smoother edges, and then the pill is more like obviously rounded edges like a pill. And then again, you've got your options down here if you want to move it a bit like that to get the perfect size, etc. So these settings at the top here, this font family will change the whole of the email unless you've gone into a separate block here and set one. So it'll override everything else if you've not set it already in this part. You've got the font color as well. So if you want to change the font like this, you do like that, and it'll change everything to red. The backdrop color is this, obviously what appears behind the canvas. So you can change that to whatever you want. So go with black, and then the canvas color is this part here. So I've just got it set to white at the moment. You can also go into each individual block as well by clicking it like this and change the color as well. So it's totally up to you. And as I said before, if you want to swap these contents around, you can just by dragging it like this. Okay, so that's the email template quickly. So if I just turn this back off. So you do have 2 options, like I said. This will be like it is now, normal, and I don't know how many people use the custom So this is what you'd be used to at the moment. So this is just, you can add a little bit of text or whatever, but if you do want to take it a step further, then you can use a custom template and put all of your own stuff in there as well. Okay, and then the next thing that I'll go into is a new module that I've created called image cards. So I just go to modules, image cards. So this is one I made before. So I'll show you what one looks like when you start from scratch. So it'll just put a fill-in image for you like this. And to change these images, you just click on it and it'll bring up the image and you can click on these and it'll replace it straight away. So I did put the instructions at the top just to say, click on the image to replace it with your own, and please ensure the images are all the same size. So obviously you want all the images the same size, so it's same size all the way across. I didn't really want to cap the image size or make it too small because I didn't want people's images to start becoming stretched or squashed. So I just left the height part up to you. So as long as you put the images in the right height, then it'll look perfect. So each image has got its own settings. So you can add a title, paragraph, a link or URL, and then you can decide if you want to open it on the same tab or open it in a new tab. So as you can see for this one, I've got a title here and a title here, and I don't think I filled the other ones in like that. So if I show what this looks like on the web store, I go to the home page, scroll down to where it is. So it looks like this. So this is showing you that it's highlighted. So I put like a little thin line around to show this is one that's highlighted. And then if you want to look at this one, you can click on this one, click on this title. I put a link on this one, so you get like a read more button down at the bottom, and this will have the link behind it to where you've put it to. You can change the position of this text, so you can either have it at the top left, the top right, the bottom left, or the bottom right. So I'll just quickly show you that in here. So if you wanted to change it at the moment, it's the bottom right. If you want it top left, you just do top left like that, and it'll change like this. You can also add an on-hover blur effect. So if I click on this and then refresh it on the web store. So the idea of this is when you hover over one of the images, it blurs out the other images just to like make it obvious which one you're looking at. And this is the center of attention sort of thing. So I'm hovering over this now and it blurs out the other ones. So this is optional. You don't have to have this on, but it's just a little effect to put on there in case anyone wants to use it. I think that's it for the image cards. Just the order reference there. I was just going to say on this, I mean, you can use it for pretty much anything you want. You could put a few banners on here. You could advertise some products, etc. It's totally up to you. The options there. So, yeah. So I'll just show now the order reference which Gary was talking about. If I go to checkout. So on the checkout, we've had quite a few requests. So for the order reference, if you have a prefix set in the back office, then it never used to fill it in for you here. So you'd always have to remember what it was and type it in. Or if you didn't remember what it was, you'd start typing one in and then you try and place your order and it would say, please enter the prefix or the etc. So if I just give you an example of what I'm on about, it would say order reference needs a prefix. So what we've done now is we've automatically filled the prefix in for you. So you don't have to remember it and you don't have any pain when you try and check out because you must have the prefix in if it's set in the office. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well done, Jordan. So just to recap on there, Jordan's shown you the badge products, which allows you to help sell products, fictional or factual, on whether they're selling fast or whatever badge you want to put on a level. The email templates is something we've had lots of requests on. So it's just enhancements to make you be able to manage your templates far easier and put imagery on far easier. They are the face of your company. The image card module is really designed. We had several requests on that to have that sort of design. So it was built with separate code. It's been built into the module now. You can use it for services or products or whatever you want. To have fun doing that. And then the order reference was it was just a persistent request coming, just automatically put the order reference in. So well done, Jordan. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of use out of those facilities. And now we'll hand over to Dan, who will cover off web quotes, the customer layout, and the control panel concepts. Okay, Dan.
Okay, just share my screen now. I might speak a little bit quickly because we're just a bit pressed for time. And so I might run over a little bit as well, but I'll try and go through as much as possible. So the first thing I'll go through is the web quotes. So currently you can actually create quotes within the back office application. And then if you go into the actual quote itself and onto the header tab, so header details, you can mark a quote for being a web quote. And if you want the customer to then see this, you just put it in the status of requires customer's approval. And then they can then review that quote and take it further. So one thing we've done to enhance that further is added the ability to be able to request a quote. So in your control panel for PrimaGo, if you go into System and then Settings, and then within Featured, we have this option here, which is enable quote requests via the cart. So we can either have this as disabled, so no one can see that button. It's available for all your customers, or it's available for those customers that you specify. So for here, I've got this for the customers that I've specified. So there's a new option in here as well. So if you go into customers, customer list, and on the bottom right, there's an option that says manage customer settings. And you can see all the web customers that you have, and there's this additional option that is available. So any of these that are green, they will be able to request a quote, and any of those that are red cannot. And if you just want to change them, you can tick them all, tick as many as you want. You can also just search if you want to focus, for instance, on schools being able to do this. Oops. You can see that it's on there, for instance, and then if you're happy with that, you just save that option, and then all of these will be able to see the request a quote option when logging in. So if I just go into the store now, and if I just go to my cart once it loads, so I go into my cart. Now I've put a couple of items in here already. So just wait for that to load. There we go. And you'll see here on the right-hand side, underneath the proceed to checkout, there's an option to request a quote. So if they've built up the cart and they want a quote for that, you just press this option there, and it'll just make you aware that it will clear the cart once you've put this through. Because the assumption is you're waiting to actually get feedback from the quote first before trying to put that transaction through. And just make sure you're happy with that. So if I just press yes. Unfortunately, just logged out. I have a little bit of problems with my local system and that. Let's just go back to this. Recap. Request quote. There we go. And then, so we see the quote now is here. So we get some details into the quote. So we get a quote number. There's a note section, which can be later populated by you, the dealer. When this quote will expire, the dealer's approval is pending, so that's the status of the quote, and then the product. As you can see, for the quoted price and the total savings, these are not shown yet because this has not actually been set by the dealer. And the customer can also navigate to the product by clicking onto that link there, so it'll take them straight to the product. If they want to view any additional quotes, so this will show all their quotes that they've had requested previously, and any that are still outstanding. So if you go into here, you can see that we've got different options here, which is rejected by customer, completed, quotes expired, ones that are pending dealer's approval, and ones that have been approved by the customer. You also can see the expiry date on this screen, and then the product codes which are against this quote. So from a dealer's point of view, once we send that request through, you should receive an email that they've put a quote request through for you. And if you go into the back office, you should see that there's a new quote. So it's 37. And this is where you can then make your adjustments for the quote and then put that through. So if I just go onto the line, I think I put 2 products there. So in the first product, so here, if the quantity that you specify here will restrict the customer so that they'll have to if they want to receive the quoted price, they'll have to buy this minimum quantity. So if I leave this at 5, they'll have to buy 5 of these to get the quoted price. If they decide to add more, they can add more at the quoted price, but they can't go below this limit. So we'll just leave that at 5 for now, and we'll put this quoted at 150. And I'll save that. That's the next screen. And this one's at 2. I'll leave that at 2. And we'll drop this down to 25. Save that. So once you've made all the changes to the lines that you're happy with, go into the header details tab, and then you just need to move this back into the requires customers approval setting. Once you do this option and save that, it will then prompt you to send on an email. So if you just press OK to the standard, this will then generate an email which then you can either modify or forward straight onto the contact, which provides the quote details for them. Once you've done that as well, the user themselves, so if we just go back to the home page, make sure I'm still logged in. This notification icon will only appear if there is quotes that they do have pending, and in this case they do. So if they go into there, that is a little prompt when they log in as well as the email that they should receive from yourself. So I can see here as the customer, I have this one pending my approval. So if I go into the quote, and then I get an overview of that. So I can see that there is this is the original price. This is what you've quoted for, and this is the total savings. So if I'm happy with this, I can accept that quote, and if I'm not, I can reject the quote. So let's just go with accept. So this is just making the customer aware that of the limitation, as I said. So they have to, if they want to purchase at the quoted price, they have to order the minimum quantity, and they can increase the quantity if they want. They can also remove them. So if there is more than one product, they can remove the any products that they don't want at that quoted price, and then get the singular product at the quoted price. So I'll just accept that. Unfortunately logged out again.
Check the option. Keep me signed in.
Too late for that now. Okay, so let's just go back to the quote. Go back to that, and we'll accept that. Okay, so this will be accepted, and we can see is the status has changed for us, so the approved by the customer, and then the options down here change, so they have add all to basket. So what this will do is if they've got any existing items, so let's just go for pens. And so if you've got if there's anything already in the cart, sorry, and this will add on to either existing carts. I'm just going to pick this product at random just to demonstrate. All right, so I've got that product in my cart. I go back to the quote, and I press add all to the basket. In your case, it would be cart. And once that goes through, you should see that it'll redirect you to the cart. It'll confirm that the quote has been successfully added at the quoted price, and we can see that this is what was already in my cart, and these are the additional quoted products. As I said, if you notice the drop downs, the number 1 is absent from this list because they can't go below that. The same goes for here. I think below 5 is not available. I do know if you go into 10 plus, you get a little text box. But if they do decide to try and let's wait for it to finish. To go less than the limit, it'll just then reset back to the minimum quantity value. So the only option to not buy that would be just to remove this from the cart. One additional bonus with how this functions is that if you go to the quotes list again, you can see that this one has now as a tick to indicate it's actually available within the cart, and then there's these 2 options here which across which haven't. So I can, as these are waiting for approval as well, I can also add the additional item to the cart. Now, if they already have this item in the cart, and say, for instance, this scenario has minimum of 10, it'll add on the 10 quoted items against the existing item if it's already present at the quoted price. But they can then reduce that again back to 10 if they so choose. And once we're on the screen as well, you'll notice that the request a quote button is absent due to the quoted products being available within this particular cart. Once they're happy with all the quotes in there, so they can then proceed to check out and pay as normal. This will then close off that quote and will show as completed, as you see on the previous screen. So we have completed, and if they choose not to accept it or reject it, we have quotes expired, and then we have rejected quotes if they decide to reject those. You yourself as the dealer as well can also add, as I say, you can add notes into the quote itself in this section here. So within the back office, it's this notes section here within the headers details tab. So just moving on quickly to the customer layouts. I'll just leave this. Yep. So we have been making some change to the control panel. We are trying to make things a little bit more intuitive, and we're shifting around sections to make them a little bit more easier to find. So a lot of the design aspects to your web store should be within the design section, and then a lot of the data aspects should be in there, and I think customer specific should be in this. So as part of this, we've found that there's one benefit we can add on here is within the page layout. So we have by default you have this layout, which is all your user-defined pages and your default pages. But you can now specify new customer layouts. So what this will do will allow specified customers to have a different experience to your store. So if I just create a blank one, put it as new test, and that's just the layout name. And then you can find the companies that you wish to add to this particular layout. So if we just pick these at random, for instance, and then we just save that, you'll then present it with the screen. So you can see here that we're in the customer layouts new test. I say I've got some additional other ones. And you have user-defined pages before and the default pages. Now, if there is a corresponding page on the default, this will override it. If there isn't, then the default will be used. So in this case, these users will not have a different experience until I add an option into here. So for instance, if I want to add a different default page and go to here, so they can have a different cart, they can have a different checkout screen, and they can have a different home screen. So if we just say, for instance, go with home, you'll see that this now drops onto the right, and then you build this up as you would normally do with any kind of customization to the page layouts, is adding and organizing your modules onto this page. So for instance, this user here at present sees this, when this is what everyone sees when they're logged out. So if I then go into education, and if we edit the customer layout, then we'll just find the company. And we'll tick that. So we'll put them into the education layout. So this one has a slightly different setup. And If we just log in. You'll see now they're presented with a banner that's only specific to those that are in this particular layout, and then we've got a module here which is the back to school range. With this as well, you can also have different user-defined pages which are only accessible by these this group. So if you had a page on here that doesn't exist in your default, that people won't be able to navigate to that unless they're logged in, and only against this particular customer layout. So it's a great way to offer a unique experience to groups of customers. This is only the first phase, so there is aspects that are still universal. So in the promotional range, this is all universal. So we are looking to hopefully shift some of this into this customer layout section. So you can specify different banner, full width banner, different advertisement bars, potentially different promotion pop-ups for these different customers. So you can offer a really unique experience to them. I think that's all my bits covered, so I'll just pass you back to Gary.
Okay, thank you, Dan. So, yeah, Dan has actually just gone through. I've got the question, Maria. Yeah, he's covered off the web quotes, which I think is a great development. Diana, thank you for your question. We will look into that to see whether we can set that up. Many of you have closed web stores, which means you have to log in to view prices, but actually maybe if the web quotes could work from the web login, like the guest user, for example, before they've logged in, that will work. We'll come back to you, the group, on that, or we'll share it out to you. Dan's done a lot of work on the customer layouts, and we did have many requests on, well, could it be that we can change the look and feel for a customer, not just the logo? Now you can, and this is going to really enhance your proposition to your clients if they want something bespoke. Very easy to set up, very easy to manage. And then we're constantly looking at the control panel. Now, over the next 2-3 weeks, the control panel will have a full help facility in it for every page you're on, okay, which will help you use it as well as being able to direct you to it. Now, the last subject I was going to cover, if we had time, which we don't, it was covering on the order pads and excluded products. What I would do is for all 30 participants in this call, I'm going to put a guide together because I think it'd be a lot clearer, because I think you'll reference it. How do you do your favorites list? What is a shared order pad? What's a dealer order pad? What's an excluded order pad, etc., etc., and how it impacts on your store. Okay, so it'll be a reference guide for you. I think that'll work really well. Okay, that just concludes me to thank Dan and Jordan for doing an excellent presentation. Thank you all for your time, and wish you a pleasant rest of the day and a pleasant weekend. Thank you very much.